Hi team, and welcome to our first lesson online. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through step by step on how to create your research question based on the stuff that you should have completed previously in term 1 to prepare yourself for your research assignment that is coming up in the next couple of weeks. So today, lesson 1, writing your research question. Your learning intentions. Students will be able to use the evidence they have collected, meaning you should have collected some evidence about their chosen claim to write a research question. Success criteria. I have written a research question that is answered by the evidence I have collected and is linked to the claim. So therefore, without your evidence, we can't write the research question that that is answered by the evidence. So we want to know the answer first and then write the question so we know that it's perfect. And we need to make sure that everything at the end of the day is linked to the claim. So quick recap. Your task sheet is available in assessments in your OneNote. And there are 3 claims on it that you have picked one of. So first one's, humans can now control evolution more effectively than nature. Modern day medicine is to blame for a halt in human evolution. The threat genetically modified organisms pose is unknown and a risk not worth taking. One of these you need to pick or have picked already and researched. So apparently at this point in time, you have chosen a claim, researched the claim, dissected the claim, and that is driving me nuts that it's missing a D. Dissected the claim to look for arguable parts, collected the evidence in the form of tables or graphs, and I just want to flag with you, you only need one piece of evidence, one table or one graph. We can work with it from there. So today what you're going to be doing is you're going to be working through one of these. So this one here is the blank template you're about to receive or you're about to click on or go through on your OneNote. And this one here is one that has been filled out. So let's get this ready. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a fully completed example and I'm going to show you what it might look like. This one here has been completed, but I've also done a little bit extra on this side to help you tie the two together. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to select the claim. The claim that's been given here and chosen is lollies make people happy. All right, then what's happened is we need to dissect it. So before we even start researching, we need to look at the claim and work out where we could find and isolate, pinpoint key things that we can either argue for or against, or we know we can find data that's going to support or reject. So here, it's been identified that lollies, people, and happy are the 3 major key terms in here. I've actually added one extra one called in there that's make. So now we need to start questioning these elements in the claim. We're going to generate questions that help us clarify the terms as they relate to our unit of study. So you're not doing any study on lollies, but you are doing units of work on evolution and genetics. So let's have a look. Which lollies are being eaten? Who are the people eating the lollies? In what situations are lollies being eaten? And how is happiness being measured, or how is happiness being defined? So with these elements that have been identified here, anything that's unanswered in that claim, you get to define, which then means that you get to make the parameters within which you're going to create your research or your argument or your investigation. Which angle are you going to come from? So I'm going to quickly jump across to my side here because I've gone into a little bit more detail about how these elements can be pulled apart and how you can begin to argue for them. So for example, lollies. Which lollies? Are we talking about Chupa Chups? Are we talking about hard-boiled lollies? Are we talking about chocolate? As soon as I look at this question, the first thing that I think of is I reckon there's some data on chocolate and its effects on the brain, and I reckon that would be really easy to find. So that could be a direction that I take my research question in, given that I find that data first. Make. When are they making you feel happy? Is it any time, any situation, or is it is it misunderstood that we actually eat lollies more when we are happy, not lollies making us happy? Maybe that's something that I can go into and see if I can find something on that. People. Which people are eating these lollies and making themselves happy with them? all people? Are they sad people that are eating these lollies? Are they happy people that are eating these lollies? Are they hardworking people that are eating the lollies? So who exactly is eating the lollies here? And then happy. This one's probably one of the hardest ones. What defines happy? How do we know we're happy? What kind of activities are we doing when we're happy? What kind of measures can we identify that will be a way that we can determine happy? Now, seeing as happy is not defined in our claim, you get to define it. So I'm going to come across back to this side over here. So possible research questions. We're going to extend on these questions and identify the section that we're going to go through. So what we've done here, or what this person has done, is that they've grabbed these questions and they've created their own parameters for research. And they've gone with, does providing workers with jelly beans increase productivity? The interesting thing here is that they've now identified a people. So does providing people, workers, they've tried to specify it and narrow it down. With jelly beans, they've picked the type of lolly that they're going to look at specifically. Increased productivity. Now, the productivity is the interesting one. That's what they've used to measure happiness. So they've made a link between happiness and productivity. So the suggestion is that when someone is happier, they are more productive. Okay, so the next part of this section is we're not ready yet to create our research question yet. What we need to do is we now need to go, all right, well, if this is where we're at, this is our possible research question, does providing workers with jelly beans increase productivity? We go and do a little bit more research on it. So we're going to go and find what data we can collect on it and do some investigating. So the first thing that jumps out is workers. We're having a hard time identifying exactly what workers are. Who are we talking about? Now remember, it doesn't say it in the claim, so you get to decide and you get to define it. So let's pretend I've jumped on the web. I've done a massive big search and I have dug through Google Scholar and found this experiment / study that was done by a brilliant teacher who had 2 classes of the exact same age and the exact same subject. What they did was they tracked a class through the exact 2 classes through the same term, same term of work. What they did was they gave one class no lollies throughout the entire term, and the other class, this teacher gave out 1 lolly a day to every student in that class, and then tracked whether or not their grades improved or not. So this data here says percentage grade change of students at Chisholm Catholic College when given lollies daily. So it's very local too. The percentage grade change is on the y-axis and boys and girls are shown on the x-axis. We're going to assume that this is an average percentage grade change because we have only got 2 bar graphs, 2 bars on the graph. So on average, when boys were given lollies daily, their percentage grade increased by 6%. On average, when girls were given lollies daily, their percentage grade change increased, but it was only by 1%. So this here has given us a way of measuring the productivity that we talked about before. So we have said, and we've made this link, I'm just going to grab a pen very quickly. We have made this link between happiness being determined, being an effector on productivity, that is going to be measured by a percentage grade change. So if there's an increase, what we're saying is if people are happier, their productivity will increase and they will get better grades. So that's the line of thought that has been determined to bring this piece of data in and to make it relevant to the research question or research investigation. So now that we have this, we've found our data. Now what we're going to do is we're going to write our research question so that it can be answered by this data. So if we jump back over to the side here, we're going to finalize our research question. And when we've done that, this person has gone with, does providing students at Chisholm Catholic College with jelly beans, we might add in here daily, increase their productivity by increasing their assessment mark? If you're looking at this research question here, and you're looking at this piece of data that we have found and identified, you should be able to see that this piece of data answers this research question perfectly. So what that means is, for your lesson and the next, I think we've only got a single today, 20-30 minutes, what you need to have is you need to have picked your claim, dissected it right down into bits and pieces that you can isolate, pinpoint, and find data on to support or reject. And then you're going to find your data and write your final research question. Please keep your dissection of your claim because you're going to use it to work out. You can use your dissection often to work out the limitations that are going to exist in your data. For example, here I've gone with happy is a difficult one to define, and it's difficult to measure, and it's very difficult to isolate as a measured outcome. So therefore, one limitation that I'm going to talk about this in later videos is going to be that is productivity actually an accurate measurement of happiness? And are some people who are truly unproductive also happy? So that becomes a limitation of this data, but it doesn't affect you or stop you from writing your research investigation based on that data. So quick recap, you need to pick your claim, dissect it. Actually, I'll do it on this one here. Pick your claim, write it in there, pull out the key terms, dissect it, research, find your data that you're going to use, and then finalize your research question. This needs to be done today. Good luck.